Welcome again to Ancient Tales for Today. Well, we've been looking at some very old stories, and we've actually come now to a reluctant hero. And we talked about the reluctant hero, 不情愿的,不大愿意的英雄. But now the work begins. Now Moses has to go meet the king of Egypt. And this is a very interesting story. We are now coming to lesson number 46, Challenging the King. Challenging the King. Lesson 46, stay by, and we will have this interesting lesson.
Number 46, Challenging the King. Finally, Moses, the reluctant hero, faces the king of Egypt, asking for the Hebrew people to leave Egypt. God says to let his people go so they can hold a special time of worship in the desert. Moses and his brother Aaron tell the king. "Oh, really?" the king replies. "So who is this God you are talking about? Why should I do what he says? I don't know him, and I won't let the people go." "No, you really have to do what he says," Moses and Aaron tell him. "Get out of here," the king shouts, "and stop distracting the people from their work." The king says the Hebrews are lazy and orders that they will now have to find straw to make bricks themselves, instead of having straw provided. This makes things even more difficult for them, for the brick quota remains the same. They will have to work even harder just to keep up. Now the Hebrews complain to Moses and Aaron. "Why are you making our lives even more difficult?" they ask. "May God punish you for doing this. Now we have become like a bad smell to the king and his officials. All you've done is to give them an excuse to kill us." Moses goes and argues with heaven. "Why did you cause all this trouble? Why did you get me into this mess? Ever since we got here, the king has become more cruel than ever to your people, and you've done nothing to help." Do you ever feel like that? You do what you're told and get into even worse trouble, or you make things worse for others. How unfair life seems sometimes. You think you can't make it any worse, and then you find out you can. Here is when your trust in what is good and right has to stay firm. Follow the voice of heaven always.
Okay, finally now, 终于, the reluctant hero faces the king of Egypt. Reluctant, 不情愿的,不愿意的英雄, okay, faces the king of Egypt. Now remember, the king of Egypt is the most powerful king in the world. He is the king of the most powerful country of the world. And so what you have to do, what he had to do, was he had to go ask him. Okay, ask seems to be a little bit too light. 太清淡, in my estimation, the people to leave Egypt. Okay, so you're going to ask the king, "I want my people to leave Egypt." Now, obviously, the king is not going to be happy. He probably is going to laugh at him. And so here is what Moses said. God says, 上帝神说 to let his people go, 让他们走，释放他们 so they can hold a special time of worship in the desert. 他们要跑到沙漠，有特别的敬拜的时间呢。Okay, worship, of course, is 敬拜, and a special time. So this is not ordinary worship. 特别敬拜的时刻。Special time of worship in the desert. Okay, now who is with Moses? Of course, we noticed time before last, that Aaron, Moses' brother, is with him. So you have two brothers, Moses, 然后他的哥哥是亚伦. Okay, Moses and Aaron, they tell the king to let the people go to have a special worship time, 时刻, out in the desert. And the king says, oh, really? 真的吗? You can just see the king is very, I would say, 惊讶, surprised. He thinks they're crazy. 蛮疯狂的. The king replies, so, who is this God that you're talking about? 你所说的 God, 这个神到底是谁? Who is he? Oh, why should I do what he says? 我为什么要听他的话? I don't know him, and I won't let the people go. See? Now that makes sense. I don't know who your God is, and I don't know him, and I'm not going to let the people go. Of course, you know why? Because these people were the servants. 他们是奴隶. They are the ones that do all the work in Egypt. So the Egyptians obviously 非常清楚的, 非常显明的, they don't want to let them go. Going on. No, you really have to do what he says. So now they're starting to argue. Moses and Aaron tell him, 不，你一定要听他的话，他所说的话，你要听他了。And so the king shouts, 大声的叫. The king shouts, get out of here! Get out of here! 出去. And stop distracting the people from their work. Okay, what does it mean to be distracting? 停止, okay, distract the people from the work. 本来他们是在工作. Okay, 不要影响他们的工作. So apparently, Moses and Aaron had already talked to the Hebrews, and they were not working so well. I think that they were taking a day off. They were worshiping on the seventh day of the week. Originally, that was the plan. So stop distracting the people. 不要再影响他们的工作. The king says that the Hebrews are lazy. See? So this is what the king says. The Hebrews, Shibbolarian, they're very lazy. Okay? and orders that they will now have to find straw and make bricks themselves instead of having straw provided. Now, let's take a look at this. Do you know what a brick is? 砖头, okay? We say 红砖. Well, I don't know if these were 红砖, but they were 砖头, okay? Bricks. But to hold the bricks together, they used straw, 就放了一些草. And this straw made the bricks 比较结实, stronger, okay? So the king says, the Hebrews are lazy and orders them that they will now have to find the straw to make bricks. 原来这个埃及人是供应那个草. Now they, and maybe we should go on to the next section. Go ahead. This makes things even more difficult for them. 当然使他们的工作更加麻烦，更加难. For the brick quota, what is a quota? 这个砖的数量 quota remains the same, 还是一样. But they have to work harder just to keep up. 要赶上进度，还是要更加努力 because they have to get straw, then make the bricks. So at this point, what's going to happen? Well, stay by because we'll tell you the rest of the story, but first, light on our path. Okay, Lena, let's look at Psalms 46:10.
诗篇46篇第10节。
Okay, and so we're going to read just this one little verse. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth.
诗篇46篇10节说：“你们要休息，要知道我是上帝，我必在外邦中被尊崇，在遍地上也被尊崇。”
Okay, it's interesting.
艾老师 ，be still.
Okay, be still. In this case, in the Chinese translation, it says 你要休息. The English word is 要安定下来，要安静下来。
哦，艾老师，我很想问哈，我不知道你怎么样处理，有一些事情是你，太大的这个挑战了，你怎么样安定呢？
Okay, this is a good question because you are a lot like my wife.
对呀，我是很慌张的人。
Yeah.
对。
So my wife sometimes she gets so nervous and so on. And so how do you relax? Okay? Maybe for me, the best way to relax is to know that God is supporting you. Or in this case, your husband.
是的，是的，我跟艾师母有很相像的地方。当我们很慌张的时候，打一个电话给丈夫，讲一讲，可能就可以平静下来。
Yes, exactly. And so the Bible text says to relax, be still, 安定下来. And Moses, he had nothing to worry about because God was with him. Okay, now the Hebrews complain to Moses and Aaron. Okay, the Hebrews, these are their own people, 自己的民族. Okay, 希伯来人开始抱怨对摩西亚伦抱怨. They complain to Moses, why are you making our lives more difficult? 你为什么使我们的生活更加困难麻烦 They ask, so that the king is made their life harder, and they blame 他们是怪 Moses and Aaron. And may God punish you for doing this. 愿神处罚这个刑罚你罚你啊 Well, they're not happy because they have to work even harder. We have become like a bad smell to the king of Egypt and his officials. 对那些这个埃及王和他的官长，我们就变成好像一个臭的味道。We have become like a bad smell to the king of Egypt and his officials. 他们的官长。Okay, going on. All you've done is to give them an excuse to kill us. 你所做的 No, actually in Chinese, don't we have a saying? It says something like this. How's it go? 有反效果. So, an opposite effect. Instead of leaving Egypt, now their work is harder. And so they 抱怨的时候, they said, all you've done, 你所做的 is to give them an excuse, 给他们借口杀我们啊. All you've done is give them an excuse to kill us. Moses goes and argues with heaven, okay? Now, why is Moses there? Obviously, Moses is there because God, tenting, God, the voice that spoke from the burning bush, said to do this. So now Moses cast the blame. 他就是要怪神, okay. Why did you cause all this trouble? Why did you get me into this mess? So, now he's talking to God. The people blamed Moses. Moses turns around and starts to blame God. Why did you cause all this? 你为什么给我找这么大的麻烦? Okay, cause all this trouble. Why did you get me into this mess? In this case, a mess. 坏事情、问题、困难。你为什么这个叫我就受到这个这么多大的问题？麻烦 ，OK， 真的是麻烦。Ever since we got here, what does that mean? Ever since 从我们从 Midian 回到埃及的时候 from the time that we came back here to Egypt, the king has become more cruel. 这个王对待我们更加残酷 more cruel than ever to your people. And of course, this is Moses saying, hey, you know, I went to help, and all that's happening is bigger problems, more problems. The king is more cruel, 更加残酷 than ever. 对你的子民更加不好. And you, I can imagine him putting his finger up in the air, you have not done anything to help. You have done nothing to help. 你根本的没有帮助我们，没有帮助他们。See, here's the problem. So Moses is not a happy person at this point. So he's blaming God. 他是责怪神为什么就发生这些事情。Go ahead. Do you ever feel like that? 你会不会有同样的感觉？ Sometimes you are told what to do. 有时候人家叫你做某一些事情。Okay, you're told what to do. Maybe your boss, 你的老板 or your wife, or your husband, or your boyfriend, or your girlfriend, or whoever it is, they tell you what to do, and you get into even worse trouble. 但是呢，最后结果呢，更加麻烦，更加不好。Or sometimes you make things worse for others. 你使别人的生活更加麻烦，更加不好。Has that ever happened to you? Well, it's happened to me. I know, many times. So you say, oh no. How unfair life seems to be sometimes. 人生好像是非常公平，多么不公平啊！多么不公平 ！How unfair， 不公平人生是。You think you can't make it worse, and then you found out you can. 你认为呢？不会更加麻烦，更加不好。但你继续下去的时候，你发现，还是不会更加不好。This is the story of our life. So at this point, 就是到这个时候 you must trust what is good and right. 你必须信任好，还有真实是什么东西 And you must stay firm. 你必须稳定、坚固。Follow the voice of heaven always. 要听从天庭，那就是神的声音啊。Always listen and do what he says. Well, stay by now for words you need to know. And now for some words you need to know. First of all is distracting.
意思是说打扰。
Okay. Distracting is a very interesting word because distraction means that you have your 注意力, your attention, and then something comes along and takes your attention away.
中文就是说分心。
Yeah.
把你的注意力分散了。
Yeah. So this is a distraction. Okay, another one, a very simple one, is bricks.
Bricks
Okay,
是砖头，
of course.
盖房子的砖头。
Yeah, that's true. 砖头. And then another one is a very good one, quota.
Quota 是数量，是不是？你要做的一些做事情要做够一定的数量。
Right. So my boss tells me today your quota is ... So that means that I have to do so many, 有多少这个数量才能够回家。Okay. Another one is a hard one to explain because it has so many meanings. Mess.
艾老师，这个字我最近是常常看到的，我发现它都是一些个负面的词，譬如麻烦啦、问题啦，都是不好的，是不是？
Yeah. It never has a good meaning. It never has a good meaning. Normally, it has no good meaning. It's always, whatever you say, 叫麻烦 困难。Sometimes we say your room is a mess. 你的很脏，乱七八糟。
房间很脏。
Okay, so mess has very many meanings. Thanks again for joining us for more words you need to know. Yep, so here we have it. We've come to the end of another lesson. We see how Moses and Aaron are trying to help the people. Moses gets blamed. 那这些人呢，就责怪摩西 You have not helped us. 肯定是有反效果。Things have gotten worse for our lives. And now Moses is feeling very, very bad. Now, in the next lesson, number 47, you will come to the showdown. And you will not want to miss the next lesson, the showdown. What is going to happen?
That's all for today, and thanks for watching. If you like Ancient Tales for Today, please visit atft.chinesehope.tv. You may also contact us by writing to ancienttalesfortoday@gmail.com. Again, that's ancienttalesfortoday@gmail.com. Tell your friends about Ancient Tales for Today. See you next time.